Hello, good morning. Another thought for the day. Oh, that sounds a bit miserable, doesn't it? No, I mean, it is another thought for the day, but I don't want it to sound like it's a miserable thought for the day. You know, I thank everybody who supports the channel, who takes the time to listen to some of the little snippets I maybe put forward each day. But of course, there is always going to be a few that have a stupid response. And I really, sometimes I don't feel like they even deserve just a heart, just to show that I've watched it. I choose to just simply remove their comment because it makes no sense. If you don't like what you see, why bother to comment? But some choose to. And more the merrier. You know, the last few days I've been watching a few more local channels, the ones that are here in the Philippines that have been in and around. It always amazes me why some channels that bring you very short but distinct purpose. When I say that, I mean that they deliver a message. It might be the simplicity of living in a compound, doing everyday things. Some might say boring, but nevertheless they show life as it really is. Within my own videos, I try and give a balance of everything, wandering around, taking imagery of myself, unfortunately, and providing you with an image behind me, not just in this room, but along the road, around the neighborhood, coupled with maybe my thought for the day. And sometimes they go down really well. Sometimes I choose to have my mush in front of the camera. Sometimes I just show the image and talk over it. And I never know for sure which one is the more successful. Some say we miss your walk around. Some say they prefer head-to-head kind of conversations. But I try and do a balance of them all. The last few days I've been talking about issues that are more in a front within a normal, when I say a normal, an everyday relationship here in the Philippines with a Filipino. Sometimes the information that I give or the method in which I deliver the story is seemingly boring to you. Well, I'm sorry that's the way it is, but for many, I get reassurance that what I'm thinking is actually not just my own thoughts. And that's the point. Many of you struggle with relationships. Many of you find yourself in deep water. Well, look at Jim, a good example, Mr. Beefcake, the guy who wants to or wanted to turn his 3-story house into a piggery. Well, apparently he's back in Asia again. Of course, he's keeping you guessing as to where he is. He's either in Vietnam, Cambodia, or maybe Thailand. But he's back again for another little session, another opportunity to realize that he has to work on himself and not his bodybuilding expertise, more the aspect of how he deals with living with another person. And that's the point. Many of us coming here for retirement seem inevitably to focus on living with another person, another woman. You've maybe decided that you can't live with your woman overseas, so you've decided that you're going to come and find somebody who you think fits the bill here. Well, guys, it's not as simple as you might think. You know, I've been here 10 years. I came here for one woman, not half a dozen, just one. A ready-made family and a nice environment to live. I found it. There's no two ways about it. I loved living in Negillion. I still hold a very strong connection to the place, beyond having built a house. But no matter where we live in the Philippines, we make it our home. And those that we surround ourselves are our choice. If, in fact, that is part and parcel of living in the Philippines in retirement, so be it. But what we have to learn within ourselves is how best we can have a stress-free environment, a happy environment, one that offers you hope and opportunity for a future. And the subjects I talk about are often ones that I have experienced myself, because there's only one way best to describe something if you've really done it yourself. I mean, I can't really sit here and tell you what it's like to experience childbirth, for instance, because I've never given birth to a child. I've been in a delivery suite and I've seen the physical process. I've held the hand of my wives giving birth to our children. So I've seen that side, but I can't tell you exactly what it's like to bring a child into the world. But what I can do is I can say what it's like to be an older person living with a younger woman. I can tell you why it's good to do that from my perspective. And if you want to listen, maybe sometimes that might ring a bell with yourself. Now, of course, if it doesn't, I'm sorry about that. But I try to give you a sort of boots and all and warts and all impression of what life can be like here. I don't always get it right. Every day is a learning curve. Every day is a journey or part of a journey that one has when one lives here in a foreign country. There's the laws to take account of, there's the customs, the culture, all of that. And when we do discover things that will niggle at us, I think it's a good idea to share them with you. Some of you say, oh, look, here he goes again. He's having a good old moan. Why doesn't he just move on and have a good life? Well, I do. But that doesn't mean I can't talk about it. You know, if you want to come over here and you want to make mistakes, this is a great place to do it. You know, the Philippines is known as a place by many as full of scammers. Dating sites are full of scammers, whether you live here or Australia, New Zealand, England, or America, you'll still find scammers. You'll find scammers amongst your own groups, within women that you meet on the street, women that you meet in shops, in supermarkets. They'll all maybe try it on you. And when I say try it on you, they've got their own skill in either trying to encourage you to take them out, or maybe be willing to have you chat them up. After all, it's a two-way street. But it's up to you to wake up very quickly that you don't have to be a wallet. You don't have to be the provider. I mean, the idea that somehow you come from the West, and you must be seen as this plentiful supply of money. You know, why? Why is it that we need to do that? Is that how you saw yourself before in the West? As just this constant supply of money, the one that went out to work, maybe, or probably both of you went out to work, but for you it might have been the one that brought the biggest amount home each month. Were you always just seen as a money bags? I don't think so. You work as a team. Each of you have your own skills, your own ability to provide for the group. That's yourself, your wife, and your children. We tend to focus here on the woman being the one that doesn't bring much to the table except herself. Now, that might well be a physical fact, but the reality is that you're looking for a wife. Now, why is it that you don't value what she has to offer? Why is it that you have to always judge a situation in the Philippines on the basis that you have the money and she has not much else except herself to offer? Is that not enough for you? Are you not happy that you are now the sole provider of the income for the family in which you've chosen to make yourself a part of? I'm not talking about mothers and fathers. I'm talking about your wife, your girlfriend, maybe her children. Do you not get pleasure out of ensuring that your children have a good education? They're your children now. Why do you have to draw this idea that her children, not yours? You take on the package. It's the whole spectrum. And I think in a selfish way, a lot of you guys see Filipinas as some kind of lesser person that you, in a way, you're taking advantage of. Why is it that you see that? Why can you not see that she's a wonderful person that you've chosen to live with? Yes, she's got her funny ways. If you don't understand them, I can give you little pointers to help you try and understand why and how. And don't think I've got all the answers, because I haven't. Every day I discover something new. You can be living with someone who ticks all the boxes you believe, and then something happens and it just completely shatters that illusion. Now, I don't recall that happening overseas, but it does happen here. You can think everything's going along fine, everything's rosy, dandy, and then she'll say some cutting remark that you realize, whoa, have I got this wrong? And that's the point. This will happen because they don't think like you and I. They don't, I mean, I'm sure they don't sit down there and say, how can I be a little, I can't use that word. They don't like they don't like the idea of you calling them rude or self-centered. And we would use the word bitch. But here, it's a no-no word. They really don't like that word. They see that word as inferring that they're some kind of a loose woman. If you want to find out how to light their fuse, call her a bitch, and or she's being bitchy. They don't understand that word. But guys, that's the whole point. There's going to be shocks for you where you think, what did I say wrong? Now you stop and think every word you've just said in that conversation. What was the one that ignited this situation or brought about that point of view? And when you do discover from her, eventually, in a roundabout way, you still wonder, you scratch your head, how did I get myself in that? But it will happen here. it's always nice to, I suppose, feel that it's one way helping, the other is giving her that opportunity and choice for you guys to give her an allowance. Why do you need to give her an allowance? Is not your money her money? Or should I say, isn't that the way we should be thinking? I don't mean that your bank balance is all of hers, just like yours, but I mean if she needs money to buy something, and it's a logical reason, she doesn't say to you, give me 20,000, or I need 10,000 to go out today. What for, darling? Now, she might look at you, what do you mean, what for? Why shouldn't you answer that? Why should you ask that question? Well, because you aren't an ATM. But this is the point, that all the way through all of my videos that I've spoken about these issues of money, finance, learn to say no. You'd be quite surprised how many times you can say no to something or try and deflect the idea of spending on that or this, how they will accept that. They don't go off in a huff as if, what a bastard he is. But they just come to the reality. A young lady goes online and tries to apply for a 5,000 peso loan. You borrow 5, you pay back 6 within a month. When they get the answer no, do they scream and shout? Do they look a little disappointed? Maybe. But they get on and they move on and look at another way of maybe raising the money. But the idea that somehow we should be providing them with an allowance. Pocket money, yes. But an allowance? Why, is she your maid? Are you paying her wages? We're living together, we're doing things together. It should be just simply paying the bills. And also at the same time, one of you or both of you have got to be conscious that we need to save the money too. If anything, you need to try and teach her restraint. Because when somebody has had nothing in life, no financial resources, and suddenly they start living with somebody who has money, inevitably they're going to be tempted to, I think I'll buy that today when we go out. Or we'll go to the supermarket, I'll buy those other things. He's not going to say anything because I'm going to make it for him. But the point is that would they have bought it if you hadn't been there? The answer probably is no. But that doesn't mean we can't have the occasional steak or the Western style food dishes because we like them. Life is all about sharing. It's about being responsible. It's about being together. If you don't explain to her, who you are living with, what you want and what you would expect as a married couple, a living together couple, then who have you got to blame if things go wrong and she just gobbles up all your money? You have to put your foot down. You have to learn to, don't be scared to say, look, I'm not prepared to put up with that. If she says, well, you've got to go, then it's up to you whether you go or not, or whether you stand your ground and show her that you're not prepared to just walk away just because she thinks, well, she can't get her own way. I mean, Filipinos are quite childish in their approach to life. Don't let that childish way scare you off of living with a Filipino. It can be a challenge, it can be fun, it can be disastrous, but it also can be just simply living a different way of life. Doesn't have to be stressful. It just means that you just come to accept it. That it's fun, sometimes it's upsetting, sometimes it's not. This is life. This is life. You know, I'm living in a beautiful home here. I was living in a beautiful home that I built back in the Gillian. Each one has their own pluses and minuses. And we need to remember that. Remember the good parts of every relationship. You know, we can paint a dreadful picture. Some of you give my ex-partner, a hard time. But, you know, maybe I'm hard to live with. Maybe she's hard to live with. Is it your place to maybe give me a reminder of what I used to have or what I might have been subjected to? How do you really know? How do you really know how she acted? I can be annoyed. I can tell you things that annoyed me. But does that not mean that I did things that annoyed her? That people here aren't annoyed by my behavior? That people are happy by my behavior? People are thankful here, just like they were back in the Gillian. Every place you rest your feet under a table will have pluses and minuses. All I try and do is show you that life is all about making good choices, making good decisions. And there'll be days when you don't make good decisions, and there'll be days when everything goes, it just fits into place. So that's gone over a lot of things, but that's my thought for today. And it's only 3:30 in the morning, and my coffee is going cold. So you have a lovely day. I hope that it is a safe and happy day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye now.